All right, ready? Video start.
All right, guys, welcome to Boss Talks Part 2, Entrepreneurship. We have Doris Woods, Michelle Yemiya, Benton, Nicole
Mason.
Benton also, and Carrie Song, all entrepreneurs, all boss ladies. Everyone's going to give you guys a little intro into them and their businesses. So stay tuned for them. Doris, go for it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. So my name is Doris Woods, and I am the co-owner of Small and Mighty Event Rentals Plus. And so what we do is actually set up for events, for private and community events. I mainly specialize in the large balloon decor that you see at many events. So that's what I do. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. Besides owning this business, I also have a daytime job. So later on, we'll get into how to balance having a daytime job, have a family, and still run your business.
Hello everyone, I am Michelle Yemiya Benton. I am the owner and creative of Yemiya's Inclinations. It is a spiritual offerings boutique, and I offer an array of services and enchanted items. Outside of work, I am a community activist and an executive co-director for the Black community of Portland here in Portland.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Nicole Mason, and I am the CEO and owner of Oregon's first and only mobile beauty supply store. So think of me as like Mid-K or Living Color, but on wheels.
My name is Carrie Som, and I have a company called Echo Sky Productions, and I do branding and business development. I'm just wrapping up a contract. I'm just wrapping up a contract in Old Town, working for Old Town Community Association, working to bring new businesses and help support existing businesses there.
So thanks, guys. And I am Kenyatta Sykes, owner of PDX Sweet Spot and Event Space in downtown Portland, as well as Painted Entertainment, a traveling painting company. So we are going to kick it off by asking you guys, does anybody know what an entrepreneur is? We just watched the video.
I know what I'm not.
Okay, let's go.
An inspiring and successful person with a business or an idea.
You have to describe these ladies. That's awesome. Anyone else?
I forgot because I feel like I had zero brain cells at the moment.
That's all right. Coffee's good for that.
Huh? What?
Do you have anything?
No.
Well, you're going to be an entrepreneur. You want to tell everyone exactly what you're going to do?
Last week you said video games.
Uh-huh.
Then, video game programmer or business.
Did you say video game programmer
Yeah, or a designer.
or designer? That's great.
You look cute.
You
Yes.
have clicks.
Graphic design, branding, just general 2D design.
Awesome. So we got Raylan here to talk to you. All right, and Raylan just stepped in. So Raylan, can you tell us a little bit about your stuff?
Hi, I am Rayland. So I am the owner of Gray Digital Marketing. I do so many things, but primarily I help business owners take the time sucked out of social media, turn it into the scroll-stopping moneymaker that they dream of. And outside of that, I coach high school cheer. I'm president of the American Marketing Association and mom to a 5, about to be 6-year-old.
Hey.
All right, awesome. So now we're going to give the ladies an opportunity to tell us what your idea of an entrepreneur is. Entrepreneur, solopreneur, mompreneur, you got it. Let us know.
Are we going in order or just
Oh,
starting?
you go first, Fred.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So right now, I am doing it all actually, because I am a mother as well. I have 3 children. 2 of them are halfway grown. Well, one is grown and the other is halfway grown. So it's a crazy mess. And I have a 5-year-old as well, as Raylan. So yeah, I'm all over the place. So it's been great being an entrepreneur. It's allowed me some freedoms to be able to balance that life of being a mother as well. So with being an entrepreneur, I have learned to make time to be with my children, and I have the freedom to be with my children and help them. I am able to go to their games after school. I'm able to go to events and things like that because I have the freedom to be an entrepreneur. And that's one of the main things that I really like about being an entrepreneur / mama-preneur, if you'd say. And so that right now, that's just one of the things that I really like about it. And I'll give it over to you and let you.
Well, first off, I started being an entrepreneur initially by being a photographer, and that quickly changed for me as the need was different that I was experiencing. And so for me, being an entrepreneur is this really big opportunity for me to encourage and expand upon my community's healing methods and tools. So being an entrepreneur for me is really insightful and fun, but also I have a lot of freedom, have lots of little cousins and family members who do big things, and I'm able to pick and choose what I'm doing and when I'm doing it, and it's really wonderful being an entrepreneur and having the freedom to choose which way I take my path.
An entrepreneur for me, I like to sleep in. I don't know about any of you. I really enjoy sleeping in. But more so than that, like the ladies before me, I enjoy spending time with Grayson. It's a lot of fun. I want to be able to see him, watch him grow. I want to be able to volunteer in the classroom, and I wanted my time back. And so it's a lot of work, a lot of late nights, not going to lie to anyone. My brain doesn't turn on until about 7 p.m., so I get a lot of work done when most of us are getting ready to go to bed. But I find that freedom to be able to coach cheer, to spend time with Grayson, to come talk to all of you, it's really important to me to be able to leave an impact. And I don't think that I could do that at a traditional 9 to 5 where I have to clock in, do as I'm told, and clock out. I don't like rules.
I don't either, to be honest.
I think panel is not a fan of rules.
I got a good job.
For me, an entrepreneur, I think the big thing is, as these ladies have already stated, is the freedom. Being an entrepreneur, you really get to, have freedom. You don't, have to clock in and clock out according to, what your work schedule says, because you signed essentially a contract for, someone else to go work for them. Being an entrepreneur for me, it definitely is hard work, but it's hard work putting into something that I want to do for myself, that I believe in, and that is my dream. I got to a point where I was over working hard for somebody else and making somebody else's dream come true and making them rich. Meanwhile, I'm not making myself rich or helping myself get into an opportunity to become rich and, in the future, leave my children with something. I was doing that for, somebody else, and I didn't like somebody being able to hang over my head, okay, if I make a mistake or whatever the case may be, I can be fired right then and there, no explanation, and then I am out of a job, out of income. I'm not saying that working a 9 to 5 is a bad thing, because it's not, and sometimes as an entrepreneur, you still have to work a 9 to 5 or get different side gigs to help fund your dream until it gets to a level where your business is paying for itself and paying for you. Those are two different things. When your business pays for itself, and can fund you personally and your employees if you have them, then your business is really taking off and successful. And that can take a while for a business to get there. Everybody thinks the entrepreneur, like you instantly just blow up overnight.
Never.
Disregard what you see on social media because a lot of that is lies. You don't blow up overnight. Most people only want to share the good that they see, but for me, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you how hard, it is. I had someone reach out to me from another state who wants to do something similar to what I'm doing. And she thought I was going to just give it to her easy. I told her, no, like, girl, this is hard. Like, having to compete with stores who have a physical location and get people to trust and order from you online when scamming is at an all-time high, it is hard. But I love the freedom to be able to do what I want to do. I right now don't have children at this point in my life, but I have a 7-year-old cousin. He's 7 now, and I help take care of him. I've been doing it since he moved back up here. He was like a month old. So me being able to be there for him and being there for my bonus children and being able to go to their softball games and basketball games, in the summer during, the middle of the day, I like 3 p.m. I like that freedom. I don't like, especially telling children, nope, I'm sorry, I can't make it because I have work. Now, if I have an order to deliver, that's a little bit of a different story because it really doesn't take me long. But to have to go sit at a desk for upwards of 10 hours being told what to do, and if I don't do it, I can be fired, I didn't like that.
It's true.
Yeah.
My path to entrepreneurship was kind of thrust upon me. My son, who's out here in the lobby, when he was born, he suffered a stroke shortly after birth, and then he developed a rare food allergy that made him allergic to all food. So it was very challenging trying to take care of a medically fragile child and still earn an income. And so I started blogging, I started writing, and got picked up very quickly by the magazine and went on staff, which was really great. But I knew that was like a very limited window of opportunity because the magazine was failing and I needed to make a swerve. So I swerved into branding. I found out that I had a knack for social media, had a knack for creating organic viral content that would reach 5 million people at a time. And I thought, well, if I can do this for myself, maybe I can do this for other folks as well. And has some really wonderful friends, Cole and Dana Reed, who are a part of the community here in Portland. And I helped them do a big rebrand of their co-working space, help them move, help them build that business. And the rest is kind of history now. I get to help entrepreneurs develop their dreams and figure out how they want to package themselves, but from a very authentic place. So it's not coming from, like what you see on Instagram. It's coming from who you are inside. And what I know about entrepreneurs after working with probably 200 or 300 at this point is everyone who is an entrepreneur does it because it is something inside of them that they have to do. They can't do anything else. They want to be passionate, they want to feel excited, they want to feel focused, and they really believe that they have something of value. It doesn't mean it, like maybe they're selling, like auto parts online, right? But they are just passionate about making sure that people have what they need so they can drive to and from work, right? Kenyatta, she's like one of my favorite business owners of all time, true story. She loves creating beautiful spaces for people and an environment where everyone is welcome and can feel like they're fancy and taken care of, and sets just a beautiful tone. And when you do something that you love, people are drawn to it. It doesn't matter how it's packaged necessarily. If it comes from your heart and you have the drive, you have the hustle, you're going to be successful, right? So that was my path.
And we have
And Amy.
I didn't introduce myself again? Yes. My name is Amy Lighton, and my business is Madhouse Entertainment. Some of you were here last time. That I do work in the music industry. I work with artists and venues and restaurants and all kinds of stuff like that. For me, entrepreneurship means being accountable for my own business. You know, no one's gonna make me do my job for me. And so I have to do the legwork. And it does come with perks, and it does come, we are working all hours of the day, night, when you can fit it in. But it does allow you to do things, like if you need to go grocery shopping, or if you need to go spend time with a friend or a family member, you control your own schedule. And there is freedom to that. That's pretty much in a nutshell. I mean, it really is. It's where and it allows me to come in and be able to spend time with you guys, and be able to volunteer time, you know, in the community, you know, and encourage students. My thing was is working with kids and encourage what they wanted to do, and that being and owning my own business allows me to do that. Awesome. Yeah, so as you can see, entrepreneurship is about freedom. I myself, I was tired of trading time for money. And I was tired of making my bosses a couple $1,000s on my shift, and I'm making $12 an hour on that shift. So I told myself, if I can do this for 12 to 16 hours a day, I could do it for myself at least 1 hour a day, and then it progressed to 5 hours, 10 hours. I don't need your check anymore. I believed in myself enough to go out there and do it for myself. Anyone have any questions for the ladies? Salvadora? Any questions?
No.
All right, no problem. Well, it brings us to my next question. How did your education play into your entrepreneurship role, or just in your business in general? Carrie?
Well, you might want to start with someone else, because mine did nothing for my. So, yeah, the way I was raised was very very closed community, and it was expected that I would grow up and get married, have kids, and be a stay-at-home wife and mom. And I have tremendous respect for anyone who chooses to be a full-time caretaker of children and the home. It is the hardest job you'll ever have. And if you have a mama, and I'm guessing most of you do, if you have a parent who has taken care of you, give them lots of love, because they know what it's like. If you have anyone in your life who's cared for you, give them lots of love, because they're doing the hardest work there is, which is raising kids. So my background is actually in international medicine and disaster relief, and that was like my first career, and it came in handy with my son, but it definitely did not lead to financial stability. I'm also a single mom, and if I had continued on the path that I was on with the nonprofit sector, I would never have been able to have the life that I have now. And the life that I have now is exactly the life that I want, and that I didn't know I could choose for myself when I was your age.
Yes. Yes, that's it.
So, you know, regardless of your education, if you have the drive, if you have the hustle, and I really mean that, and you have some good mentors, and I'm pretty sure that this room is full of really amazing mentors who would be happy to talk to you, start that side hustle, right? Like, I heard someone say they like video games, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay, is anyone into like shopping for vintage stuff? Like old things? Yeah, okay.
I'm not a student, no.
Yeah, you know, I work in Old Town, and they have a lot of vintage resellers, and it's mostly sports memorabilia and old jerseys and things like that, right? There's a kid who is about to open a store. Mm-hmm. He's like 15 or 16, And he's been going out and finding and refurbishing old Nikes. And he's like made thousands of dollars, after school, just looking for these shoes, fixing them up and reselling them. So yeah, if you have a side hustle, go for it. What is it?
I like looking around for, like, specifically, I'm really into Transformers, and I
Yeah.
try to find, like, vintage Transformers all over the place.
But, like, old
Kind of.
1980.
Yeah, I actually have a couple.
Yeah, and
I
that's
actually have a couple, but one broke.
super hot right now. Like all of the stuff that was popular when I was a kid.
Coming back around.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Like
So
the plastic and die-cast Transformers. From,
Yeah.
like 1984.
yeah, exactly. So like whatever it is that you decide you want to do with your life, become an expert at that. Maybe it means you have to have a degree. Maybe it doesn't, but become an expert at that. That's the most important part.
So let me simplify this question. How many of us have a degree in what our businesses are? Okay, right? Okay. All right.
1 out of 6. All right. It's kind of a funny story. So, when I was in high school, I wanted nothing more than to be a child psychiatrist. Guess what I'm not? Child psychiatrist. But that could be debated. I do coach high school cheer. So, my dad didn't believe that psychiatrists were doctors. My dad, at the time, was an attorney. He's now a judge. And the only job I was allowed to have was to be an attorney. I did not want to be an attorney at all. And so we got into it my freshman year of college. I left Arizona, moved back here where my mom lives. And I decided, as my giant act of rebellion at the age of 19, 20, was to go to art school. Yeah. So I went to art school for fashion marketing. And I don't know why I did it. I worked at Nordstrom, so I just figured I'd get a degree in the job that I had. But it wasn't being a psychiatrist, because apparently I couldn't do that. And it wasn't at all being an attorney. Hindsight's 2020. I do love what I do. My sister right beneath me went to go be an attorney. One of our colleges got paid for, the other did not. So I say all this to say, I actually I went back to school also for psychology. And so I have degrees in both marketing and psychology, and I use both every single day.
Psychology and marketing.
Yeah, there is psychology and marketing. So I oddly use both degrees. And it's really helped me. But what I would say from an education standpoint is it doesn't have to be the traditional go to college. I have a lot of certifications in many other things. In web design, I'm finishing up my Black CEO Coaches certification so I could be a business coach. I have certifications in DEI communications and a slew of other things that I literally cannot remember because I get bored. So I say all this to say, education doesn't necessarily mean college. You can get education in a variety of ways for the things that you want to do to improve upon what it is that you're offering.
Yeah. I also
So-
want to add that education is never wasted.
No.
So my medical background came in really handy with my son, right? So even if you get a degree that you don't end up using in your job, it's never wasted. You'll still use that knowledge, maybe not in that specific field, but you'll use it in other parts of your life.
Everything happens for a reason, y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah, I went to school for marketing, management, marketing, and accounting. And I guess you can use that in what I do with the music industry. I do manage, the bands and the artists and their career and guide them and then help them with their finances. So for me, it does play into effect with what I do. So I went to, business degree. That's what I did.
I started off in school, in business administration, but I'll be honest with you, I did not finish my degree because I was a teen mom. So that kind of hindered me from being able to finish the degree the way that I wanted to finish the degree. However, what I will say is if life takes you down a road or a path that you find you're stuck at and you're like, hey, I cannot finish this degree right now, I will urge you to find education wherever you can, because it doesn't have to be in a traditional school. I ended up working for companies that paid me to take classes that are just as good as the college classes, and I have certificates as well. That experience that I have gotten from those companies were almost as, they were worth more to me than almost going to college, because I was using that on the job and then getting those certificates. Now I'm able to transfer those skills into my own business, and I'm not carrying a lot of the things that come with going to college. However, college isn't bad, just if you find yourself at a path where you cannot complete it right then and there and you need to take a break, take that break, but continue to find education in other places that's not a traditional college. There are a lot of opportunities out here, guys. Please grab onto them and hold them. If you have a company that's offering you to take classes for free, there are plenty. Take those classes. You never know when you will need them.
There's also trade schools too, if you know that you have your specific line, you know, that cosmetology, you know, beauticians, I mean, the specific trade schools. And there's even, I think, technical trade schools. There's all kinds of stuff like that. And guys, the internet, you can educate yourself on the internet, that's free.
University of YouTube.
Oh my goodness. I mean, take advantage of whatever resources you have available at your hands at the time.
For me, I did go to college. My dream was to be an OBGYN because I love babies, and I was like, what better opportunity than to help mothers bring them into the world. And then when I got into college and started to see how much science you needed to take, and I will be honest, my grades were not where I wanted them to be in the science aspect. I am a whiz when it comes to numbers, math, money, but when it comes to science, that's not really my strong point. And I didn't want to continue to waste money and take these science courses to try to help me, you know, get to graduate school and then to med school. And I was just like, I'm over it. So I switched my mindset and I got a degree in psychology. I don't necessarily use my degree in my field, but having that degree in psychology has given me the opportunity to know people. I am able to, you know, talk to people, kind of figure people out, analyze people without them really knowing I'm analyzing them, but not in a bad way. It's, you know, for me, if I want to, you know, my psychology degree kind of kicks in because I want to get to know my clients. I want to know what it is they like, what they shop for, you know, because sometimes my clients don't know what they need. And so for me to have that degree and, you know how to talk to people and kind of be able to pull that information out of them, my degree, you know, helps in that aspect. Kind of like the lady said, college isn't the only answer. As Amy mentioned, there are trade schools. You know, if your dream one day is, you know, you don't know what it might be, but you necessarily might not want to go to a traditional college, you know, pick up a trade. Maybe, you know, pick up a trade to be an electrician or a plumber, because not only can that land you a great paying job if that's the path that you choose, but if you have that trade and that information, you can end up becoming your own entrepreneur as an electrician, you know, as a plumber, things like that. You know, as people are building houses, like people are always going to need an electrician or a plumber or something like that. And that gives you the opportunity to work for yourself. You'll be able to set your own schedule. You know, you'll be able to charge what it is that you want to charge versus going to go work for like an electric company and, you know, you have to get paid what they feel like they want to pay you, not what you know you are worth because of your education and your background. And like Doris said, if you need to take a break, if you do choose to go to college, but maybe a year or two in, you're just like, you know what, this is a little much for me and I need to take a break right now, it's okay. I wish I would have done that because it's not that I didn't enjoy college, but at one point I was really struggling. I was trying to balance a job, being a full-time student, helping my mother take care of my great grandmother who became, older, and she became really sick. That was like my best friend. And it was hard. And I really wish I would have just, took a break. But I told myself, okay, if I take a break, I might not go back. And back then, I did not necessarily know that that's okay. I didn't know that if I didn't want to go back and finish my degree, that was okay. I was afraid of letting my mom and my family down, that I didn't really take into consideration how it was making me feel. So don't feel bad if you don't want to go to college, or you do go to college and you take a break and you don't go back and finish. Don't feel bad, because you can pick up something else that you can gain so much education from. And to me, in my opinion, there's nothing like hands-on experience.
Yes.
There is nothing like hands-on experience. Some of these hands-on and life experiences will teach you a lot more than college ever will. They say college prepares you for the real world. In a sense, it does, but honestly, it really doesn't. You kind of have to get out there and be hands-on with some of these life experiences. To me, that's the best education you can have.
Yes. Just to kind of give you scope, because I know we are a lot older than you. The thing that I would say you need in school more than anything else, no matter what you do, especially if you choose to be an entrepreneur, is to pay attention in math class.
Yeah. Yes.
We use math for everything. And I know sometimes you might be sitting there in geometry like, when am I ever going to need to know the radius of a circle? Well, you weirdly might one day. I use algebra every single day of my life. You need it for business numbers. You need it for so much. So math will help fund your dreams somehow, some way.
Yes. And reading.
And
Reading to comprehend. Because as you guys get older, you will be given documents to sign. Terms and conditions, contracts, and everything else. Please, I worked in an insurance industry for a while, and it was amazing to me how many business owners, as I worked on the corporate side of it, did not understand a simple car policy. It is very important that you guys pay attention in reading as well as math, because reading is not just about knowing the words on the paper, it's about understanding what you read. People will hand you documents to sign. You will be signing away a lot of your life earnings if you don't understand what you are reading. So that is a very big part of business. I'll give you this example. We have customers who call us and they book us, and they will sign they will read the terms and conditions, they will agree to it. 24 hours before their event, they want to cancel and they want a full refund. Unfortunately, they are not able to get a full refund. The terms of their conditions said that if they cancel within 24 hours, they only get half back. So that's why it's important to understand what you are reading. So that way you can have a successful business. You yourself can set successful guidelines for your clients to be able to adhere to.
And don't be afraid to point your, clients or customers back to whatever section it is that, explains your policy or what have you. Like, Doris said, someone wanted to cancel within 24 hours, but, wanted a full refund. Oddly enough, people do that to me as a mobile beauty supply. They're like, oh, well, I placed my order at this time. You mean I can't get it delivered today? No, it specifically says in my delivery and shipping policy, if you place an order after this certain time, Monday through Saturday, or this certain time on Sunday, your order is not going to be delivered until the next business day. And if it's an emergency and you need it the same day and it's after that cutoff time, you will pay a emergency fee. And if you don't want to pay that fee, then you're going to have to wait until the next day to have your order delivered. And that's, why it's so important, to read. And like Doris said, you're going to be signing your life away on so much stuff, whether it's you getting into a space and you have to go sign a lease. An apartment lease and a commercial lease are so different. They are so different. Yes, of course, you should read your apartment lease because you want to know what you're signing. You want to know when or if your rent's going to go up. You want to know what the company is.
There's late fees if you pay late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you want to know what the late fee is. You want to know, okay, is the company in charge of keeping the grounds clean? How often, does a groundskeeper come and clean up the place? Things of that nature. But when you go and sign that commercial lease, it is so many different terms and stuff that you probably would never think of. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you are sitting down with a realtor or something and they're trying to get you in this commercial lease and you're like, wait a minute, I don't understand what this section is, ask them. And if they cannot explain what it means to you, that is not the right person for you. Like, I'm probably going to be going through that pretty soon, hopefully, trying to get myself into a brick and mortar location. And I just sit and think about all the stuff that I'm going to have to read and sign and really understand, because the last thing you want to do as an entrepreneur is sign a contract and get yourself into something that you really don't 100% understand. You never want to walk away from signing something and being like, crap, I don't really understand what that means. Or even if you are a service providing business, like Doris, she provides, event decor. Her specialty is balloon arrangements. For her, she doesn't want to walk away and have something signed by herself and a client and not really understand what that client wants. For me, it's a little different. I do wholesale. I got the pleasure of wholesaling Michelle with, some hair care items that her and someone else needed for a class. I did not want to send them an invoice or have them sign anything without me 100% knowing exactly what it is that they wanted. I'm a question girl. I'm going to ask you 1,001 questions until I have a clear understanding as a business owner of what your need and your want is. And that's what you want to make sure you do.
Yeah.
Which brings me into my next question for Michelle. How did you? How do you know your customer?
Well, I started my business based on supply and demand was like my initial thing. I was and still am on a healing and spiritual journey for myself. And this necklace right here actually is the very first necklace that I've ever made, like at all. And once I started making things for myself and like really was just focused and honed in on my journey, I started getting inquiries about the different things that I was doing. And so I'm able to know my customer based on what they're what their need is and how they approach me and when they come to me. If it's for example, I do energy clearings in people's homes. So if someone like inboxes me and they say, hey, can you tell me about your energy services? Then I know that they're asking specifically for like an energy clearing, and I'm able to ask the questions so that I'm able to provide the correct service that they need. So based on their need is how I know my customers.
That's great.
And Raylan, what's your ideal customer?
My ideal customer, so funny. I teach on this and then somebody asks me. Yikes. My ideal customer is, honest to goodness, small to starting out entrepreneurs who are looking for coaching not only on how to build up their social media, but to connect their sales and their marketing process together within those operations. I'm a firm believer that brand is where finance, marketing, and operations overlap. And so if you don't have very strong operations, you're probably not going to give the best customer service, and that's what people remember. You need to be able to tell your story distinctly, as well as have great visual cues from a marketing perspective. And financially, you need to be able to pay your bills, but you also need to be able to have money coming in. Yes. So I really help folks discover what that is for them and uncover that. Many medium to large businesses already really have that portion done, though I do help them too. I find that for the secondary part of my business, I help large and enterprise companies better focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion within their marketing specific. So I could give you a trillion examples as to how the world does it pretty bad. We're not going to go into those today, but those would be my two very distinct audiences.
Okay, Carrie, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Can you give us a marketing strategy for a new or beginning business?
I mean, like a real quick one.
Just a real quick one. We
have some
entrepreneurs.
budding entrepreneurs. So the first thing that I say, always, TikTok. I fell in love with TikTok during the pandemic.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Yes, and it was, like taking care of two small kids, homeschooling them, still trying to keep my business going. At the end of the day, I was just like, I have to go somewhere. And I went to TikTok. But one of the things that I've been able to do is figure out the social media piece, what's going to pop right now. And for whatever reason, it doesn't make sense. I'm 43, I'm old. I understand what's going to hit. And if you can figure it out, that's going to be your biggest boon, right? That's going to be like your biggest win. And I'll tell you my secret, okay? But you have to promise to use it. All right. Ladies, you have to promise to use it too. Okay. All right. Here's the secret. You start a channel that you are interested in. One focus, okay? Don't go all over the place, one focus. Use the same words in that video and in every video that you make. So like pick out like 5 words. So say you're selling, you just developed a video game app, right? And it's about, what is it about?
Strategy and action.
But for what?
Like a strategy and action game.
Okay. So like, is it like martial arts? Is it like, let's just call it Risk. That's an old game. So.
I love that.
So you can say, in the TikTok video, I just created this really cool app. One word, right? And there is strategy and there is risk. You use those 3 words in every video that you make. And you train the algorithms to pick those up. And what the algorithm will do, especially on TikTok, is it will bring you your ideal followers. It will bring you your customers. You don't have to go out there and spend $1 million on ads, unless you're just selling something basic, right? Yeah, exactly. But if you have something that you are selling and that you're promoting, you give them teasers. You tell them just enough to pique their interest, and you use the same words over and over. You also use a similar frame. Okay, so right now TikTok likes faces. So if you have your face in the frame and it's just like a headshot essentially, and it's a similar background almost every time. So whether it's a green screen, whether it's, like a car, like you're sitting in your car making the video.
I mean, a lot of ads do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just found this new app called Playwatch.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Heads.
Right. So what you're training them is consistency. When you are consistent, the algorithms will reward you.
Yeah.
So that's one. Consistency in words and frame. Yes.
I have like a projector in the corner of my room that turns on and basically shines LED lights all around the room that look like a nebula everywhere.
Cool.
So if I ever wanted to do TikTok, I could have my ceiling or my room with the
Yeah.
And then you can put your captions straight over the screen, right? So step 1, having consistency, words and visual. Step 2, what is trending? And you know much better than I do what's trending right now. Find the thing that is trending in the area that you're developing your business in. Okay. So there was a news story that came up in my field, and I had been following these rules on TikTok. And when this story broke, I immediately made a video about that story, but I used all of my own keywords, same format, nothing changed, except that I was using this trending, breaking topic. And my followers went from 300 to 4,000 in a week.
Entrepreneurs get super rich overnight.
No, false. False.
Your likes and followers do not equate to dollars.
No, they do not. Ask me how much money I've made off of social media. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. So part of it is consistency. Part of it is knowing who you're talking to, right? Who's your audience?
That target audience.
Exactly. And then what is trending right now? What is relevant right now? What is generating, like when you open up your own feed, what's coming at the For You page, right? Social media right now is really hard to get an organic following.
Yeah, it is.
TikTok is easy to train. So train the algorithms. And when you figure it out, share that information with people that you like. There are also other social media hacks that we can talk about another time.
People you like.
But there are ways to trick algorithms so you can make your brand successful like immediately. But if you have that bump, you have to know where you're going next, right? So it's cool if you get a bump, but if you don't know where you're going next, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So have a plan. Have a
Yeah.
plan to get famous.
There we
Not
go.
famous.
Have a plan.
To get successful.
Say your affirmations.
Thank you.
I like that.
100 times a day.
Yeah, and we are breaking for a break. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then we'll be back with part 2.
All right. Cool.
do you need to have to start your own business?
Amy? Oh, I'm sorry. Carrie, would you like to take that?
Or like what you need to, what do you need to have in order to start a business?
Yeah, I like the very first steps.
Yeah.
You need a mentor.
Yes.
You need a network. You need a mentor.
Your network equals your net worth.
Yes.
Yep, and that's number one, because with that mentor, they'll be able to connect you with the right resources. Now, knowing that you have this video game idea, just going off of this, maybe you have other things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Having a business plan, right? And there are templates on the internet for a business plan. There are YouTube videos for how to create a business plan. I have helped many business owners create business plans, but the business plan is a roadmap, right? So it's not the destination is for when you get to like clearly line out what you want to do, how you're going to do it, what it's going to take to get there. And then when you start to like waffle or lose your way, you can go back and say, oh, no, I know what I need to do next, right? It's also written in pencil. So you might have a business plan and then you like get, a quarter of the way to your goal and then you're like, you know what, this isn't actually working. What do I need to change? What do I need to adjust, right? And then you reach out to your mentor, you reach out to your network and say, hey, this isn't working. Can you help me figure out how to make this successful? And when you have other people chiming in, like a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is like the biggest pitfall, right? Like the biggest like fail that I see is entrepreneurs being so devoted to how they want to see it executed that they forget that that execution must lead to success, right? So you can do it exactly your way without any outside input, but you're not going to see those like blind spots. You're not going to see the places where you don't know how you're not going to see the spots that you're missing, right? And you need other perspectives that you trust, right? And who have earned that trust to come in and help you see those things differently. But if you were too devoted to making one vision work and only your way, right? You're gonna fail. So we need each other, right? We need our networks and we need other perspectives to help us be successful.
Anyone want to add on?
Yeah, I want to add on. So right now you're probably thinking, well, how do I find a mentor? How do I find a coach? For me, I actually found a coach somewhere I was working. Come to find out she was a business coach, not just my coworker, so I connected with her. For you and your age group, you're on TikTok, you guys are on Instagram, you are on Facebook. If your parents allow, find those Facebook groups that are specific to what you are interested in. Join those groups. I guarantee there's an adult, there's a coach, there's a business owner in there who is waiting for you to connect with them. You're not too young. When communicating with them, just take your parent along for the ride until they feel comfortable enough letting you have those experiences or conversations with them alone. And you don't have to have a business plan right at this moment. Take your idea to them, and they will help walk you to the next step.
And your school counselor can also probably help connect you with that like ideal mentorship place. So whether it's an organization or it's someone in their own network, your school is full of like really talented educators and connectors and administrators who have like a vast number of other people who do the thing that you probably want to do.
Yeah.
Also, something else to consider is knowing your why. Like, why do you want to have this business, or why do you want to do this, or, what does it mean to you? Those types of things are things that you want to have up front, because it also is like, it will help to guide you while you're building your business plan and while you're building the different streams of income, if that's something that you get to. and not just having like one business and you want several different things, just knowing your why you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Why do you want to service people, or why do you want to provide what it is that you're providing, will help you to have your mission and your vision and have all the things that you need to have an elevator pitch and to be able to sell your product or your vision or your idea moving forward.
You also need to have, as Carrie has mentioned a few times earlier, you also need to have the drive and the hustle. If you deep down inside really don't have, the drive or the hustle to be an entrepreneur, it's probably not going to work. Being an entrepreneur, as we all have said in some shape or form, yes, it's great freedom, but it is also a lot of hard work. You are going to have a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
You are going to cry, scream, yell. You are going to have happy tears. There are times where you are going to be angry with your vendors, or there's going to be like shipping, mishaps and things like that. And so you have to, be able to navigate that and have the drive and the focus to, not let that get to you. It happens to me all the time. In this beauty industry, I have had so many shipping mishaps, especially because things are still trying to get back to normal after COVID. Like, I have had packages lost. I have had product damage. I've had it stolen by the delivery carriers. They've opened my packages and gone through boxes and took product. And it is so frustrating because I'm like, I'm losing money. Now I have to do this all over again. But I sit back and think, as Michelle mentioned, I sit back and think of my why. Okay, why did I get into this? Why do I want to do that? And that kind of brings me, back to, reality. And as, Doris mentioned, join these Facebook groups with your parents' permission. That's what I did. I did a little bit of YouTube University. I found these girls who opened a beauty supply store in California. They mentioned a Facebook group. I went and joined that Facebook group dedicated to beauty supply store owners. And from there, I have met so many women and men, because there are men who own beauty supply stores, in my community that help me and want to see me successful. Some of them have been in the industry for 10, 15, 20 years. Some have only been in it for a year or two, or, maybe the same amount as me, but we all found a way to help each other. So you want to find that network who isn't afraid to share advice and information and help you connect with others. Because that's really going to help you in the long run. It's really going to help you because you don't know who those people know.
It's really, everyone's talking about time and freedom. It's also very self-discipline. If you guys can stay focused and holding yourself accountable for your decisions. I have an email to write, but I want to go gaming instead. It's which one are you going to choose? Which is going to make you money? The gaming or sending that email where it may have an agreement with you and a customer of yours. So that's that whole, you don't have someone telling you what to do. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
You have to remember that your business is going to have to come first. There have been so many times where I wanted to go, hang out with my friends, but an opportunity would present itself where I can go do a pop-up shop. And I'm like, okay, what's more important, me going out and spending money, hanging with my friends at a happy hour, which you do need that balance, or is it more important for me to go get in and do a pop-up and potentially get in front of hundreds of people and be able to pass out my information and let people know that I am here and potentially make sales in person? It's more important for me to make money right now. My friends, if they are really my friends, they're going to understand, hey, I got to miss out on this hanging out with you real quick because I got an opportunity to do a pop-up shop to go make some money. If those are your real friends, they'll be like, okay, go make your money. I'll be here. We can do it after if it's not too late, or maybe we could do it tomorrow if you're free.
Or I'll come.
Or I'll come and support you.
Yes. Even better.
Those are the friends we want.
Move the happy hour to the event.
I had an example last night. I was at a gig with one of my artists, and we were going to drive downtown, down the waterfront, But we got lost because of all the one-ways and all the blocking and everything like that. So we ended up on the street that Voodoo Donuts is on. So he goes, I said, I've never been there. My kids have been there, but I haven't been there. So he pulled up right in front, and they were not even a parking spot, but he pulled up right in front and went to Voodoo Donuts. But there was a young man, I say he was 16 or 17 years old. But he was an artist. I mean, an actual artist. The artist I'm talking about is I work with music, right? So he was a singer. But this young kid was an artist, and he had his pictures that he had taken time to draw because that's what he does. And very good, very out there, but but nice artwork. I mean, it was beautiful. My friend bought it because he's out there selling. He's selling in line with his stuff, and he has a pen in his hand, and he goes, this is what I do. This is what my goal is. This is what I want to do. And then he signed it with the date, the exact time, and his signature. So he's out there, standing in line and getting his, he could be out there, partying with his friends, going out and watching movies or whatever. And he's in, contacting people, doing his own little network there by talking to people. That happened last night.
And see, the singer that she, that bought that picture from that young boy doesn't know who that singer knows. People, all over the music industry can potentially see his work and be like, hey, where did you get that from? And,
He bought it for his studio, to put
he
in
can
his
be
studio.
like, hey, I got it from this young man, here's his number or name or social media or whatever. You never know who people in your network know, or who, when you go out and do different events or what have you, who is looking and watching you and who might, come up to you. You never know.
One thing to round this out is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yes.
And I see this not only just in entrepreneurship and helping business owners, but even kids like you for cheer. I will always prioritize the kid who works hard. I will do everything in my power to introduce them to people, all those things, because I understand they understand the value of hard work and focus and dedication.
Yes.
So just remember, Carrie said, consistency, it matters. And yes, ma'am, you had your hand up.
If you're working in like graphics or branding, is it okay to work with open source software, or do you have to get more professional stuff?
You can work with open source software. If that's what you can afford to begin with, absolutely. You don't have to pay however much for Adobe, and you don't have to pay however much for, all the apps. You just, you just have to start.
Utilize what you have at your hands.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to pay for a lot of stuff. I started out with not having to pay for anything. So
Then use it, sweetie. Use it. Whatever it takes, because it's going to showcase how talented you are.
Exactly.
I'm kind of lazy. I'm not going to lie to anybody here.
Yeah.
You could design in Adobe. I'll design in Canva because it's simpler.
Yes.
God, I
love Canva.
Okay?
Oh, I love Canva.
But I got a lot of stuff to do, so
Love Canva.
hear me out. But
Yes.
if that's where that's what you have available to you, then you go. Instead of sitting there making excuses because you can't afford X, Y, Z, I'll probably root a lot of things back to cheer for all of you because it's a sport. But my team has 3 rules. Rule number 1 being think. But rule number 2 is no excuses, only solutions.
Yeah.
So you find your solution and you take it, and then rule number 3 is choose to win. So choose to win in that moment, and you'll go really far.
And my thing I want to say to you is don't think of, for me, have a problem where I think of everything at one time. And that tends to overwhelm me. And it may overwhelm you as children. However, my mentors that I've had around me, my network, my friends, my teammates, I call them my teammates because they're in the industry, Kenyatta for sure, and she's a teammate because she's in the industry. I'll reach out to her and I'll say, hey, I got all of these ideas. She'll stop. Hey, think about the one thing. Think about today. Think about this moment you're in. What is it that you are trying to accomplish today? Know that you will not accomplish everything in one day or 1 week or 1 month. Things take time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Literally. take your life, your business ideas, one day at a time. Most importantly, celebrate the small wins.
Yes.
If you have 5 invoices to get done, and you get 2 done, you celebrate those small wins. Because you got 2 and now you only got 3 left.
Because you're on your way.
Doris, this is for you.
Yes.
Because I also am a big thinker.
Yes.
And love to do all the things.
Mhm.
I have a bowl where if I have an idea and I can't think about it in the moment, I just put it in there. And when I'm real bored, I just pick one out.
I got so many books.
Yeah, just.
Because I just write it down and I get to
In
see
the
you
bowl.
later. Yeah, I like that.
So my last thing is finding out what your level of self-awareness is. If you have any type of self-awareness, you will know when you need to take a break, when you need to rest, when you need to incorporate self-care or self-love or self-healing.
Yes.
Being self-aware will help you to be an outstanding entrepreneur when you can take care of yourself.
Yes.
That is like one of the main things that you need to have in the beginning of starting your business.
Yes.
Any other questions,
agree.
guys? No? Okay, well, we have about a half hour left. So I just like everyone to have the opportunity to share your story of how you began your business, resources that helped you to get where you are today, maybe some losses, and then sum it up with a win.
Cool.
Let's start, Amy?
Sure. I started as a taxi cab mom. Driving my daughters around to their sports, to everything. But my youngest daughter, when she was about 8 or 9, I heard her singing, and I didn't know it was her singing. Her sisters told me it was her singing. But so I had her come down and sing. That's when Adele first started coming out, and I had her sing. And I'm going, okay, well, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know what to do with this, because we were a sports family: volleyball, basketball, you name it, track, whatever, gymnastics. I could talk sports all day long. So I had to do research on what to do to help her. And in doing so, she got picked up real quick to be in a couple of movies, and that started her singing career out more. So me sitting back and learning everything to protect her in the singing industry and the acting industry, because she was getting cast for feature films, that I just sat back. And when I drove her, because she was a minor, she was so young, I would sit back and I would listen to everything, everybody, all around me. So I just absorbed, and in that absorption, those are my resources. I just learned from everybody, which led into all the whole music industry, and then started doing her promotions, and then her promotions led to other people coming to me to do promotions, and their marketing and their PR, and to their management. Now I'm managing bands. I am booking bands and single singers, and now and also I'm working with venues, which are the event spaces, restaurants, or just like music venues, where I book all their events and all their music. So it's been hard work. It's been a couple of years. Keep in mind, it does take a year to 2 years for anything to be successful.
Yes.
So it's that's kind of where it came from, and it's been hard work. Sometimes people say no, but yeah. But now I work with a lot of artists and regional, local, and national acts now too.
Hey, congratulations.
So
Nice.
Doris?
Me next? Okay, here we go. So I started my business back in 2019, right at the end of 2019 though. So I was working at a large bed and breakfast company. Name starts with an A. I still work there today. Yeah, there we go.
I couldn't figure it out either.
So I worked there. I really enjoyed working there, and I still do enjoy working there. But there was a break in time of me working there, and it put some things in reality for me. So I was so happy about being there, and then we all know COVID hit. And while I was there in 2019, towards the end, I said, oh, I want to start a business. I just kept saying this. I want to start a business. I had no idea of what I wanted to do. However, I know that I'm great at customer service, and I know that I love decorating. Again, no idea of what I wanted to do. We're getting right into the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and I say, okay, I'm serious about starting a business. Let's just buy folding tables and chairs. I started my business with literally folding tables and chairs. 4 big round tables and 50 white folding chairs. I said, okay. And I was starting to get a little business, not much to brag about, but I was still happy because, again, what? I'm celebrating the small win. So every little job I got, I was happy about. Then COVID hit. When COVID hit, it shut me right back down because no one was having events anymore. So I decided, okay, maybe this is not for me, or maybe this is a good time to find something else to do. I'm still at Airbnb, so I'm okay. Well, no, I was not at Airbnb anymore because they decided to let the entire Portland office go, and I was included. So I decided, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do in this moment with this opportunity and freedom? I decided, let's add on more to Small and Mighty. Let's try and do balloons. Again, YouTube University was my friend. There were no classes being held anywhere to learn anything. YouTube University became my friend. The dollar store became my friend. I would go there, buy balloons, and just sit in the house and practice. And I practiced and I practiced until I said, I think we can make money off of this. And I started making smaller balloons when we start coming out of COVID a little bit, not that we're out of it yet, but just slowing it down a little. My business began to take off. And I was so excited about that, and I am still excited because we are still growing. But that's kind of how I started my business, just this need to want to do something more. That perspective I got, yes?
We have a question. We want to know like what specifically your business is now.
I do balloon decor, event decor. So if you have a birthday party and your mom says, hey, would you like balloons? They are going to call me, but I'm not just going to bring any balloons. I am going to come and do the grand look. I actually have a photo of my work. Would you like to see it? Sure. Okay.
Bring one up. I was going to bring it up.
Kenyatta's got some.
And the one that I'm showing you is an event I just did for her anniversary, her business anniversary. So you feel free to pass that around. I did her Black Love Day event, I do. And so just out of perspective, when Airbnb let me go, I knew right then and there in that moment that I can no longer continue to allow a company, one of the top companies, to keep me prisoner from my own creativity and ability to become my own boss. And so that's when I made the decision to switch my thinking. I'm actually at Airbnb right now, even though I'm here. I made sure that they understood that in order for me to come back and work for them, I needed flexibility so I can do my own thing. And that's why I am here. But I work this job with the mindset that they are not there for the long term. I am planning an end game. I am planning my escape plan. Not escape plan.
Oh, no, it's an escape plan.
My exit strategy.
That's a polite way to put it.
Yeah, I'm not a prisoner. I'm not a prisoner, but like Nicole was saying earlier, I don't like rules, so I feel like I'm in prison sometimes. So this is the reason why I have this job, is just because I want to use this right now to fund my dream to become an even bigger decorator. I'm waiting on Oprah or Beyonce to call me to do the twins' birthday party. I'm there. So
Yes, like right.
Okay, anybody.
Be as big as David Tutera
Yeah.
out here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, can you repeat the question?
How'd you start your business?
How'd you start
How
your
did I start my
business?
business? I think I mentioned this earlier. I started my business by doing things for myself. I started watching YouTube University, learning how to wrap crystals for myself because I had learned that I was an empath and that I needed to have some sort of tools to help me as I learned more about being an empath. And so I had already previously purchased things and it, it just wasn't working for me. So I decided that I was gonna learn and teach myself how to wrap jewelry and how to make protection pieces for myself and to protect my energy and the energy of people around me. And my very first customer is one of my very close dear friends. She purchased a piece of protection, which is a wrapped crystal or necklace that I make and I wrap and I enchant them as I go. And when you're dealing with energy and your like personal magic, if you will, you really have to believe in it, or it doesn't work. And then the people who are ultimately coming to me believe in my magic as well. And so I had learned from my very first customer that if I'm careful and not careful, I actually am enchanting these things. So the very first necklace that I wrapped for my very first customer was enchanted with the energy of Nefertiti. And she is a goddess from the Egyptian culture. So it was like a learning experience for me, and I had to like take a step back and do some research on like enchanting these things as I'm making them. And really enchanting is just putting your good intentions out there, or the energy that you want to receive from things like crystals. They all have different meanings. And so that's really how my business started. I had a customer who wanted something that I was doing for myself, and then it turned into like 10 customers. And I was just like, all right, well, let's see how this goes. And my previous business of interest was being a photographer, which I still do that. It's just a natural thing for me. But it took us like a back seat for me because healing was is my focus, and being able to offer that to other people, being the helper that I am, was my entry into my business. But I have experienced a lot of loss along the way. Last September, I experienced a house fire and I lost everything that I owned after getting my business to a place of like, my number one product is my energy clearing spray. And I had like, made all these adjustments and like gotten to this place where I was selling my products continuously and consistently. But the fire really knocked me back. But my win is I'm still here and operating a business today.
Yes.
And I have ultimately just made some changes within my business and narrowed down the products that I actually offer and decided to incorporate services.
I love it.
I love it.
I want to clap for all of you, and I feel so empty. Hi, everyone, again. So I am your COVID baby over here. And I'm not that old, but I'm much older than you. And so how many of you love your birthday? Raise your hand. Everybody else, like, your birthday is your best
I celebrate
day?
the whole month. Yes.
So, me too. So, when COVID started, everything shut down approximately 2 or 3 weeks before my 30th birthday, which is a big deal. So, your next big birthday is probably 16. Mine's 50. But in the moment, it was 30. So, I am a mom of a 3-year-old at that point in time. I get on a phone call with my boss, and he's like, hey, Ray, I have this project for you. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's see what it is. I've got Disney cars playing in the background. I have no desk at this point in time in my tiny apartment. So I'm sitting on the floor with a chair as my desk, just to give you a visual of how great this was. Thank you, COVID. And I'm sitting there, I was like, okay, cool. And I start to just work on this project. A couple hours later, I'm thinking I'm going into a meeting with my boss and his boss to talk about the project. I had gotten so much done, and I was very proud of myself. So proud. I get on that call just to be told, hey, sorry, we're letting you go. After they had told us 3 days prior they weren't letting anyone go due to COVID. It is 1 week, and I mean this thoroughly, 1 week before my 30th birthday. 1 week before I changed decades, 1 minute to make me feel like the world's biggest failure. So I'm sitting on the floor, staring at the wall for way too long. To me, it felt like hours. To my boyfriend, I guess it was just an hour.
And I'm just crying because I don't know what I'm going to do. There's no jobs available because of COVID. So many of us lost our job during that point in time. You cannot get through on the phone to unemployment. It's near impossible.
Yes.
It was a joke within itself.
God.
And it's past my 30th birthday, probably like 1 or 2 days after. And I'm sitting down on the couch, scrolling through Instagram, listening to Disney Cars, wondering how in the world am I going to pay for Lightning McQueen? And I'm going through it, and then all of a sudden it hits me. I was like, wait a second. I understand sales very, very well. I have thankfully worked at Nordstrom for a long period of time, so I understand how to put businesses together and maintain all those pieces. And I have a degree in marketing, and I'm really good at this. So I said, you know what? Unemployment, hang up. And I just said, I'm just going to go start a digital marketing agency. And I did. And I named it after my son. So many things have transpired since then. I just said yes to something. My business got my LLC 10 days after my birthday, on my sister's birthday, actually, and was able to celebrate that. Just saying yes to that opened many doors for me. I went from making not very much to doubling that income. Getting the job I actually have today, I do work, but with the premise of the knowledge that I came with Gray Digital Marketing and the fact that I could build their sales and marketing processes. So from April 3rd, 2020 to today, I have tripled my income since then, and it's still growing. And I have no plans on stopping, ever. But it took a tragedy for me to find a win and to take control of my own life.
Yeah.
And Kenyatta's giving me thumbs up, so woo!
For me, so I have had a couple businesses in the past.
5 minutes.
Oddly enough, I did event planning too. And to be honest, that business and a couple other ones I had failed. And it was because it wasn't my passion. At first, people were telling me, like, you decorate well, you're always doing, like, friends' baby showers or, weddings or whatever. And so I kind of let people pressure me into doing it because it was something I really did not necessarily want to do. And then one day I had an incident where I went into one of the hair stores that will remain nameless. And I literally walked in with just, my regular clothes on. I had my phone, my keys, and a wallet. I had nothing on me that was big enough for me to stuff any type of merchandise in. I was followed around that store and looked at as if I was going to steal something. And I did not like that feeling. And then I started hearing from other people of color who were getting the same type of treatment. But women spend billions of dollars in the hair industry, billions, whether it's buying shampoos and conditioners, ponytail holders, barrettes for their children, or buying extensions. We spend billions of dollars in this hair industry, but we are made to feel and looked at as if we are going to steal something. I did not like that feeling. And so I'm like, I want to do something about it. And so I was just like, I want to open a beauty supply store. And at first, I'll be honest and transparent, I did not take myself serious. I was like, okay, I tried a couple other business ventures. They failed. But I'm like, this is something I have wanted to do for a few years. I was working, COVID hit, and I lost my job during COVID. And that is what kicked it into gear for me to start my research, figuring out how to start a beauty supply store. I went to YouTube University.
Graduates.
Yes, found some ladies who opened a store in California. They dropped the name of a Facebook group that they had joined. I joined that Facebook group. I got a wealth of information from those people in that group because it's dedicated to beauty supply store owners. And it was hard trying to get a brick and mortar during COVID because things were not open. And even now that stuff is opening back up, commercial lease is so expensive, it's ridiculous. So I'm like, let me change the mindset and do something different. So I created the mobile version. I'm like an Amazon, but except you ain't got to wait 2 days to have it delivered. I deliver it to you with typically in an hour. And so that's kind of just, how my journey started, kind of experiencing something negative and turning it into a positive. I have unfortunately had some losses, inventory stolen, packages damaged, things like that. And some of my wins, I have shipped to 11 states. I have hit my first country. I have had 3 wholesale orders. I have met someone from a company here who wants to potentially help me get into a storefront or either get me an actual mobile van instead of me using my personal car, 'cause I'm tired of putting miles on it. But help me potentially get a van that I can actually use and transfer into my actual mobile business. And honestly, I've been able to meet some really amazing individuals in this industry, even women who are out of state and we are in the same business, but I don't see them as my competitors. I see them as my sisters.
Absolutely.
So how far is your perimeter of where you're driving to for your deliveries?
So I go 15 miles from pretty much I live in this area, not too far from here, a 5-minute drive from here. And I travel 15 miles, and that includes over into the neighboring state of Washington.
Okay, cool. And last, we have only a couple of minutes left. Carrie?
I'll make it brief.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
It's 11:45.
I ship too.
Yeah. So I already told you how I got my start in entrepreneurship when my son was having some health challenges and we needed money to pay those bills, and I couldn't work because I had to take care of him. When it morphed into the branding services and the small business development, I had goals, right? I needed to hit these income goals, and I was about a month away from hitting my next level income goal when the pandemic hit. And all of my clients are small business owners. Most of them are women, and of those women, most of them are BIPOC entrepreneurs. And I had this moment where I was like, I cannot hold these business owners to a contract. It's not ethical for me. And so I offered a blanket release from all the contracts to all of my clients, regardless of whether or not I thought they could pay or were capable of it. I wanted to just know that they were taken care of. So yeah, that was a huge setback for me. And I took consulting work wherever I could. I went back to writing. But one of the wins that came out of that is my network saw that I did the thing that was right? I did the right thing by the community and by the small business community specifically. And so when things came back last year, I was flooded with job offers. I was flooded with contracts. And the last year has been spent really cultivating a lot of these networks. And I'm getting ready to move on from this contracted position, and I'm so glad to have been able to sow into that community. But it's time for someone else to have that position. It's time for a person of color to have that position, because that's the community that is being reached. So I'm still working, still doing things, but when you do the right thing, even if it feels like a massive loss, other people are watching, right?
Yep.
Your integrity
Always.
is what matters.
Yep.
And it can turn into the biggest win.
Yep. And that is the win, right? So.
Well, thank you guys. This is the end of Boss Talks Part 2. We have Amy, Doris, Michelle, Raylan, Nicole, Carrie, and Kenyatta have any questions or want our information, please feel free to stick around. Or not, because you have to go eat. Have a good one. Thank you guys for inviting us.
Thank you.
Thank you.